Welcome to PigCHAMP University. In this video, you will learn how to establish user preferences within the CARE 3000 program. Let's begin. The administrator of the CARE 3000 program has the ability to establish what settings are used throughout the program for each user. To set program preferences, click on Settings in the toolbar. From the drop-down menu, click on Preferences. The preferences for the administrator will appear. There are 9 different categories, including sign-on security, importing farm data, farm identification, female age, data entry settings, report settings, language, date formats, SPI, and BVSP. Click on the category you wish to alter. Sign-on security enables the program to maintain the username and password at login. To remember user login information, click on the checkbox in front of Allow User to remember their sign-on data, placing a checkmark in the box. If users are allowed to save their username and password on their computer, anyone with access to the user's window account will be able to gain access to the CARE 3000 program as the user. The administrator or sysadmin account will never be allowed to save their credentials on the computer being used to access the CARE 3000 program due to security purposes. Next, click on Importing Farm Data. After importing farm data, it is advisable to perform SQL Server maintenance. The program can be set up to do this automatically by checking the boxes in front of each option. Options include Regenerate Statistics, Rebuild Indexes, or Clear SQL Server Procedure Cache. By default, all 3 are checked. It is suggested leaving all 3 checked to ensure proper data integrity. Click on Farm Identification. The user can select the level of identification to be shown in report headers. Options include to display both the farm name and farm number, to display only the farm name, or to only display the farm number. Click on the circle in front of the level of identification you wish to use on reports. Click on Female Age. The user can define whether to display either cycle or parity in the female history and reports. To use cycle, click in the circle in front of cycle. The circle will become filled in. Cycle refers to the number of reproductive cycles expressed by a service. Cycle is incremented at the first service for a gilt or the first service after a weaning event for a sow. To use parity, click on the circle in front of parity. The circle will become filled in. Parity is the number of farrowings the sow has had. Parity is incremented at every farrowing. Highlight data entry settings. The user is able to establish basic navigation and functionality of the program for the ease of data entry. The Microsoft Windows standard for navigation between fields is to use the Tab key on your keyboard. To change this standard and use the Enter key on the keyboard to move between fields, click on the checkbox in front of Use the Enter key to move to the next data entry field in the navigation section, placing a checkmark in the box. To remember the identity of an animal from one event to the next, click on the checkbox in front of Remember Last Identity when moving from one event to the next in the Remember Identity section, placing a checkmark in the box. This function will only work if the event switch is logical. For example, the identification will be retained if moving from a farrowing to a weaning event. If you're moving from a farrowing to a mating event, the identity will be reset. The identification will be reset if switched to a data entry event that requires a unique identity such as a gilt arrival, boar arrival, or sow arrival. To have the program highlight the field in which the cursor is located during data entry, click on the checkbox in front of Highlight the Focus Data Input item in the Other Options section, placing a checkmark in the box. To automatically view the sow history on screen during data entry, click on the checkbox in front of Automatically Refresh Sow History in the Sow History section, placing a checkmark in the box. If this is not checked, the user will still be able to view history on an as-needed basis by clicking on the history icon on all data entry screens. Click on the plus sign in front of data entry. This will expand the list of data entry options. Highlight synonyms. To define custom hotkey synonyms to navigate between events in data entry, click on the checkbox in front of Use Synonyms to navigate between events, placing a checkmark in the box. Users can define custom synonyms by selecting the event from the drop-down list and typing the desired synonym into the synonym text box. Multiple synonyms can be entered for each event. To use multiple synonyms, separate them by a comma. Do not use spaces. An example would be XX, XY, ABC. Synonyms cannot be more than 10 characters in length and cannot contain spaces. For a list of default synonyms, please refer to your user guide. Synonyms can be locked by the administrator. When locked, the administrator's synonyms serve as the synonyms for all users. Only the administrator is able to alter or edit the list. To lock down access to the synonym list, place a checkmark in the box in the lower left-hand corner of the synonym screen. To save a keystroke during data entry, place a checkmark in the box in front of Navigate to this synonym text box. Highlight warnings. Users are able to turn off certain pop-up warnings in 3 areas for data entry. These areas are semen purchases and collections, farrowings, and weanings. By default, all data entry warnings are turned on when the program is installed. Warnings and errors allows you to have the program beep at you indicating a data entry error or warning. If you do not want the program to beep at you when you make a mistake during data entry or have reached a warning, click on the checkbox in front of Beep on Warnings and Errors, removing the checkmark from the box. Click on the plus sign in front of warnings. This will expand the warnings options. Highlight semen purchases and collections. The semen purchases and collections section provides warning criteria for entering the semen purchases or collections. If users do not want the program to warn when the semen expiration date field is left blank in a semen collection or semen purchase event, click on the checkbox in front of Warn when there is no expiry date, removing the checkmark from the box. If the expiration date is left blank, the semen batch will never expire. The Semen Doses section is very similar to the expiration date section. If users do not want the program to warn when the Semen Doses field is left blank in a semen collection or semen purchase event, click on the checkbox in front of Warn when the number of doses is unlimited, removing the checkmark from the box. If the number of doses field is left blank, a semen batch can be used an unlimited number of times. Highlight farrowings. This is where the user can define warnings for their farrowing entries, including live-born and gestation length. In the live-born section, click on the checkbox in front of Warn when the total live-born is 0, removing the checkmark from the box if you do not want the program to warn you when the total live-born is 0. If users do not want the program to warn when the total live-born is greater than the specified maximum live-born, click on the checkbox in front of Warn when the total live-born is greater than, removing the checkmark from the box. Users can specify the maximum number of live-born for the warning. The maximum is 25 piglets. The default is also 25 piglets. In the gestation length section, click on the checkbox in front of Warn when the gestation length is outside the range, removing the checkmark from the box if you do not want the program to warn you when you farrow outside of the specified gestation length. If you do wish to have the program warn you when the gestation length is outside of the specified range, you can specify the range of days for the warning, leaving the box checked. The range must be between 109 and 125 days. Highlight weanings. In the piglet wean section, click on the box in front of Warn when the total number of piglets weaned is 0, removing the checkmark from the box if you do not want the program to warn you when 0 piglets are entered for the weaning. If users want the program to warn when the total number of piglets weaned is greater than the specified maximum number, click on the box in front of Warn when total number of piglets weaned is greater than. Users can specify the maximum number of piglets weaned for the warning. If users do not want the program to warn when the number of piglets does not reconcile with the number of piglets nursing the sow, click on the box in front of Warn when the number of piglets weaned does not reconcile. All warnings can be locked by the administrator. When locked, the administrator's warnings serve for all users. Only the administrator is able to alter or edit the warnings. To lock down access to the warnings, place a checkmark in the box in the lower left-hand corner of each warning section. Highlight report settings. Users have the ability to set the format for previewing a report on the screen. This preference will determine how the report preview is initially sized. Users can override this setting once the report preview is launched. To fit the page to width, click on the circle in front of Fit Page to Width, filling in the circle. To show as a whole page, click in the circle in front of Show Whole Page, filling in the circle. Click on the plus sign in front of Report Settings for more options. In order to calculate a farrowing rate on certain reports, the selected reporting period is offset. Sows served during the offset period and who subsequently farrow are included in the farrowing rate calculation. Users have the option to select the number of days to be included in the offset reporting period by expanding the report settings list and selecting farrowing rate period offset from the menu. Options include offsetting the reporting period by 115 days or 125 days. By default, the program is set to 115 days for the farrowing rate period offset. Click on Language. Users can select the preferred language of the program. Users can also switch back and forth between various languages at any times. Select the language to use in the program from the drop-down menu. Options include English, French, 2 types of Spanish, and Portuguese. Click on Date Format. Users can define what date display format to use. The entry date format is the date used for data entry. The printed date format is the date that is used on reports. Users can select the 1000-day or several different options of the regular date format. Click on SPI and BVSP. This is used in reporting functions. You can view and alter the default information. If you wish to use your own calculations, uncheck the box in front of Use the National Swine Improvement Federation standards. Clicking on the plus sign in front of SPI and BVSP will allow you to further define your own calculations. Once you are finished making changes to your user preferences, be sure to click on Apply and then on OK in the bottom left-hand corner of the System Settings screen. This will save all of your changes. This concludes the instruction on establishing your user preferences in the CARE 3000 program. Thank you for viewing this installment brought to you by PigCHAMP University. For further support, we encourage you to check out the technical support pages of our website at www.pigchamp.com or email your questions to us at techsupport@pigchamp.com. We are also available via the phone Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time at 866-774-4242, extension 64. Thank you for choosing PigCHAMP. Have a great day.